And welcome back to another update on the Stargate Anubis. And this is a kit by MRC. And I thought while the filler was drying on Anubis, I'd go ahead and just do a little bit of work on the base and on the Stargate. I've got my sand down on the surface here. And this is sand I took out of my one of my sand tubes. Back when I had my pickup truck, my K1500, I bought 7 tubes, 60-pound tubes of sand as weight in the wintertime. So I still have the tubes, even though I don't have the truck anymore because I bought a Jeep. But I decided to sacrifice one of the tubes and grab the sand out of it. And I took some sand out and I sifted it using this little strainer I got at the dollar store. And what I got was some really nice sand, but the only problem with it is wasn't the shade I was looking for. This is a little darker. So I took, after I sifted the sand, which by sifting the sand I got these little rocks out of it, which will be perfect for, I could use some of the rocks on this actually, or another diorama, but anyway, I kept the rocks. I didn't toss them because you'll pay $5 or $6 for a bag of rocks like this. So I thought, well, might as well keep it and use it at some other point. So after, well, let me back up. After I sifted it, I applied it to the surface, and what I did is I took some of this sand and I took a little container and poured a bunch of this Delta Ceramcoat matte varnish in it, and then I slowly added the sand into it and mixed it and made like a paste. And then once I had like a paste, I applied it to the surface here using a tongue depressor, a wooden stick. I have a bunch of tongue depressors I got from when I worked at the hospital. So I just use that to apply it to the surface. And once it was all done, I let it dry. And then I painted the pedestal here with craft acrylics. I used 3 colors. I used a burnt orange, a camel, and flesh tan from Delta Ceramcoat, and mixed it all up. Painted the base or the pedestal here, and did a little black wash on it, kind of just to get it beat up and dirtied up a little bit, and get it looking, old. After I was done painting that, then I painted the sand, and this is a camel, a color called Camel from Folk Art. It was pretty fun. I actually had a good time making the paste up and putting it on there and moving it around, trying to get it to look natural. Not perfect, but it was pretty fun. And so far I've only got $5 invested into this base, so I think for $5 it looks pretty good. And I got a bunch of sand left over. What I might do is take some of the sand and put it in a little cup, add some of that camel paint to it, and then apply it around the edges of these little statues, which I have to weather up. These little statues I got off of eBay. They were only a couple bucks. I just thought it would look kind of cool, so just something to add to the base, even though they're not in scale. I mean, everything's out of scale on this anyway, so I wasn't going to worry about trying to find something that would be in scale with Anubis. I mean, Stargate's not in scale with Anubis and vice versa. This isn't in scale with anything, so I thought, well, why worry about scale? Right now I'm just going for aesthetics. So these were only a couple bucks. The sand was free. The foam board was a couple bucks. So I have, like I said, a total of about $5 invested into this so far. Now the Stargate, I was going to leave just like the box art, but I decided to add the water effect to the Stargate. So to do that, it was pretty easy peasy. All I did was get a good picture of the Stargate when it was activated. A nice still shot, a high-res still shot. And I shrank it. I measured the Stargate here, and then I shrank it down to the size I needed for this Stargate. And I printed it out at 600 DPI. And that was it. It's basically just a picture, a printed picture that I put behind the Stargate. And then to give it a gloss, because you know I printed it out on cardstock, and I hit it with lacquer just to seal the ink in, so it wouldn't get any bleed through or anything when I went to glue it on to the back of the Stargate. And it's not glued on; it's held on with tape right now. And I'm not going to glue it on until obviously I get the Stargate painted, because I don't have to try to work around the water effect. But once I let the lacquer dry, I went back to give it a really high gloss look to it, like if it was actually water. I just cut a piece of clear mylar and then put it between the Stargate and the picture to give it the high gloss. So when the light hits it just right, you're not looking at a flat picture. You have a bit gloss to it. So, the Mylar I got for free. So the picture, obviously I did myself with Photoshop. So I still only got $5 into this. And we're back, and now I'm working on the headpiece here. If you recall, we had a lot of light leaks coming out from underneath his head here, and the blue light was shining down on his neck, so we can't have that. And I couldn't use filler because once you glue the head on, you can't get in there to fill it, and even if you could, you'd have to use a ton of filler to try to plug that gap that was between his chin and the neck here. So what I used is Amazing Sculpt, which is a two-part epoxy putty, and I made a little. I just started stuffing it in there to hopefully block the light, because the putty's pretty dense, and the light's not going to pass through it. So I just took a small amount of putty and just pushed it in there, and kept it away from the eyes, but still kept it around the chin area to block the light, and I think we got it. So now when I put a battery power to it, you don't see any blue light coming down and lighting up his neck area. So any light leaks we have around the back of the head, I can get to with putty, the Vallejo plastic putty. So I'm not worried about that. So I think we finally got that problem taken care of. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and glue the head on to the neck, and then we'll have that step finished, and we can go ahead and when it's dry, put some putty around the back of his head here and cover up any more light leaks that we have around the headpiece. I put another layer of filler. We're still using filler on the arms. I mean, as I said, they were pretty bad, and I added another layer of filler. So we've got. I'm just waiting for that to dry. So we're almost there with his arms. We're not too far off. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and glue the head on, and then we'll have the headpiece done. And then we'll continue working on the body and get those arms in shape. Then I think we're about ready to start painting. So I'll be right back. And we're back, and we've got a little bit more work done. Now we've got the ends, or the sides and the front piece here done and painted, and I added a little plaque. The front and sides I've gone over. Let me take this guy off here. I've gone over with 3M glazing putty, and gave it like a stone texture. And then when the 3M glazing putty was dry, I painted it kind of sort of like sandstone, the same color I used on the steps, or the pedestal, I mean. I used camel, some burnt orange, and some metallic pink. Then I used a mix of black and gray, plain old black, and then this, what's this called, ash gray. Mixed these two together, made a wash out of it, and then I went over the sides here to give it a dirty, like a dirty stone, you know, old stone look. So it was pretty easy peasy, wasn't anything, you know, difficult. I've got these little statues hot glued on. Our next step on these statues is to dust them up a bit so they don't look so new. And I need to take some sand and have it like blown up on top of the pedestals here that they're standing up on. I don't want that, you know, plopped on look. So I need to bring some sand up and over these pedestals so it kind of looks a little blended in, not so much stuck on. Excuse me. So while I was waiting for that to dry, I took the staff / weapon here and cut it, as I said I was going to do with my razor saw. This area where it's cut is going to be hidden by his hand. So as I said earlier, we'll take the staff and just slide it up through his hand, glue the top on, and drop it back down, and then his hand will be covering up the crack where we've cut, well, not the crack, but the cut where the staff has been cut. So that we've got that done, and then we've also got, as you can see, the staff spray painted with black primer, and then I'll hit it with a clear coat, just plain old Tester's gloss coat. I'll hit it with that, and then we'll take and paint this, and this is the same color as the headpiece, which is like a bronze. So we'll dry brush some bronze over this black, and then the like jewel here is kind of a bluish purple. So I'll take a little bit of the Tamiya clear blue and the Tamiya clear red and kind of mix them and make myself a purple, and then we'll paint this silver first, and then we'll go over it with the clears. We'll do a little bit of green around here because on the real staff, the weapon part here, there was like electronics and stuff. It wasn't very kind of subtle with the way it was painted, but there was some stuff going on right here. So we might do this in like a weathered green color, and then I think this area here was also might have been a bluish purple. I'll have to look again, but we've got that done, so that should be pretty cool. And then we've got the headpiece finally glued together. Well, the head on the headpiece. We still have to put the side, the ornaments here that are on the side. Got to install them, and then the strips of like a, it's like a, it looked like, I don't know if it was cloth or leather that was hanging down off of the side pieces here. But we've got to install those, and what I might do is just go ahead and paint this first and then install them. We've got that all done and glued and put together, so that's about it for this segment. I still need to do a little bit more filler work. I think maybe another coat or two and it'll be done. So we're slowly getting there on those arms. Like I said, those arms were a pretty bad fit. But we pretty much got the base all done and painted. We just have to make the plaque now, and I'll probably use Paint Shop Pro and make a plaque to glue on here, and it'll probably say Anubis. Then maybe underneath of it, it'll say Stargate. That's what I'm thinking, but that might change. I don't know. But anyway, I think it's looking pretty good. I'm having fun with this, and you know, always like doing figure kits. and always fun for me to do. So I think that's it for this update. I don't think we're going to add any more to this video. We'll just end it. I think there's like 3 segments on this video. We'll save anything else we do for a new update. So we'll go from there. Alright guys, take care and peace.